got to rely on the technology. Digital provides so much measurable data that it's really hard to ignore. If the franchisees trust you, they'll listen to you. I don't think there's a better time to be a marketer.
If your marketing career were a Rita's Italian ice flavor, what would it be and why?
It would be black cherry. So when I was thinking about my career from that standpoint, I've spent most of my career with franchisees. And I learned early on from one of my mentors that engaging with franchisees and being visible is just critical to building credibility. So I would like to think that I'm a year-round favorite, but that extra little kick is when I actually get out into the field and meet with franchisees and their locations, just showing that genuine willingness to understand their business, their trade area, their challenges. So hopefully I leave with a positive impression and they want to order me again at some point. So
you've led digital marketing transformations across franchise brands, right? What has been the toughest status quo mindset you had to change in franchise marketing, and how did you break through?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. I think it's making that shift to digital. When I started in the business, there was no digital marketing. It was traditional media. It was TV, radio, print. I go back a little ways. So, so as digital came onto the stage and evolved, I did too. Unfortunately, I have a personal love for technology, so it really didn't scare me. And I started working on my first real digital transformation about a decade ago with a group of franchisees. And like I shared before, it starts with credibility. So if the franchisees trust you, they'll listen to you. Where I had to break some things down was the traditional barriers. A lot of us hear it all the time. Well, this is the way we've always done it. I don't use that personally, so it's not relevant. It won't work. But I really have just worked on coaching and teaching franchisees that digital provides so much measurable data that it's really hard to ignore. So what I did was I built some business cases around their investment, getting the return on that investment, and being able to show increased profitability.
I feel like a lot of those traditional methods of media and like commercials and stuff like that, to have truly effective campaigns now, you almost need a level of creative that resonates with an audience. Maybe it's even, obviously UGC is a great example of a very modern type of commercial, but like that video, that creative it's almost like it's back. That's what it was back in the day. An advertising agency would make like a video and then like you'd put that video places. Can you speak to that a little?
Yeah, totally agree. And this is something that's been challenging over time, because when you talk about some of the traditional channels to emerging channels to even the newest things, TikTok and all these others that are coming on the scene, it's how do you use a channel strategy for each one of those, and how do you budget for that?
Yes.
The budget is really where I've seen things get challenging. Hey, we only have so much money to do X, so we'll just repurpose it. We'll use this creative on Facebook and we'll also use it on Instagram and TikTok. Well, that doesn't work. So it's, you've got different audiences, you've got different formats that each one of these platforms, just for sake of discussion, specialize in. So using a static image that you might be able to just post on Facebook and trying to put that onto TikTok, it's not going to work. TikTok is much more of a lifestyle. It's much more video focused. And that's where you just got to get into the mindset of, hey, we really need to budget for this correctly so that we've got the right creative that's going to be effective, drive those engagements on the specific channel that it's been using for, or it's going to be used for. So that's been probably the biggest challenge I've seen from that standpoint, is just making sure that you're building out a strategy that's specific to each one of the channels, because then you're just right back where you started from, of potentially wasting money, because it's not going to get the type of engagement and ultimately the end result that you want, which is registers ringing. So
kind of on like the newer school, like as we're like in 2025, obviously, if you could only use one marketing or CX tech tool for the rest of your career, which one would it be and why?
Okay, so I thought about this one for a little bit. Am I allowed to plug companies on here?
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll say this: working in multi-location environments, working with multi-location tools, they're just a must-have in franchising these days. I've done it the old-fashioned way. I've done it more traditionally, where you're using spreadsheets and uploading and pushing, and that is just, in terms of efficiency and scale, it's really difficult to do. So with the emergence of these multi-platform management tools and publishers, I'd say that's I'd want to have one of those in my back pocket, especially in a franchise model. So I've used multiple tools that do this, some well-known ones.
How do you turn overwhelming data into clear, actionable insights that drive real results? How do we get that register to ring, especially when we have different KPIs like reach on a social media platform and also impressions on Google, and then you got your clicks and you have all of these different KPIs, but how do you kind of make them mean anything?
Got to rely on the technology. It's just, when I think back on how I used to deliver insights versus how I can deliver them now, I mean, it's really hard to believe the monumental shift that has happened from that standpoint. Just what's in arm's reach of a marketer today is just, versus 10 years ago even, just completely different. So my colleagues, my franchise partners, they've heard me say, I don't think there's a better time to be a marketer because you can measure everything. And if you have the right technology in place to do that, it becomes even easier. So I am a big fan of the buy versus build approach. I stepped out of franchising for about a year into a role at a marketing technology company, and I just learned so much about data management, data transfer, data transformation, and there's companies that excel at this. So as a marketer, don't waste time building your own platforms. There is someone that can do it better than you, almost guaranteed. So you want to act on the data. You don't want to determine how to act on the data, how to collect it, and then act on it. You're going to be behind every time when you do that. So find the right tool, find the right technology, look for those experts that know how to capture that data for you. And unfortunately, I lost that job to the pandemic, but I feel, I was in such an accelerated learning mode, even at that point in my career, my stage in my career. It just gave me such powerful insights that I can still apply today, and kind of marry that with the practical knowledge that I have within franchising. So I think my lesson there is just, don't be afraid, take a chance, and always be in a learning mindset.
If you had to give advice to a younger marketer in, just let's say they got their degree in marketing, what would it be?
Find somebody that you might be able to latch on to. Yeah, I think in today's age where everybody's talking about AI and everybody's talking about technology, and I'm guilty of it, I still think that experience and gut has a place in business. So be willing to learn, be willing to be open-minded about things. You may learn certain things in a class in college, or you may know how something works online, but that practical real world experience of, especially in franchising, if you're interacting with franchisees, if you're trying to build credibility within the industry, find a mentor, find somebody that you can latch onto and learn from that perspective, because the technology is going to be changing every single day, but the experience that somebody might have from 5 years, 10 years, 15 years or longer in the business, the franchising model's evolved, but most people have evolved with it, for those that have been around it for a while. So you can always learn from that, and not just rely on data and technology to make all the decisions, would be my advice.